So, have I stopped making videos for World of Warcraft? So, the answer is yes. So, the reason I've stopped, I've had a few comments on some of the videos, but also some people have reached out via the Discord. So, the problem with making the videos for World of Warcraft is they're incredibly enjoyable, they're great fun, but the problem is the legalities around it. It's a little too grey for my liking. So, with Azeroth Core, it's quite clear cut. It's perfectly legitimate. It's an open source project. It's written all from scratch. It's fine. That's fine. I can cover Azeroth Core. But the problem is when you're using the client. Where do you obtain the client from? Now, I bought the client many years ago, but unfortunately, I can't get that access to that original download. So technically, I can argue that I have a license to use the original Wrath of the Lich King client 3.3.5a. But I doubt that Blizzard would agree that I have a license to use it, because they've obviously progressed the game forward. And even with Classic, it's not the original 3.3.5a client. So they would argue that I don't have a license to use it, and I don't believe that I do. And so you have to then question where did the client come from. And of course, Azeroth Core has to draw out its assets using the information from the client. It takes the information from the client, it pulls out the mmap files and all other kind of data, and it generates various server-side pieces of information, about 6, 7, maybe 8 gig of information that's needed in order for Azeroth Core to operate, because of course when the server runs, it effectively plays a copy of the game on the server that's sort of headless, if you like, so that it knows whether or not you can clip through a wall or you can do certain things on the server side. And of course, what are the legalities of that? They're very grey, and no one can really give a straight answer as to whether the tools that extract from the client side or create a derivative work. But I mean, without the original work itself, are the derivative works really that derivative? So it's just too much of a grey area for me. If I want to stand up a YouTube channel and I want it to be useful, have lots of useful videos, and be powerful for people to learn new things, programming, DevOps. I'm still in DevOps and programming, by the way, very much so. I'll talk about that in a second. But if I want it to be safe from being copy striked, or just basically catching the negative side of Blizzard, Microsoft, then I can't cover it. I can't cover the whole private server side of things, unfortunately. So I'm going to leave my previous videos up on there, and if people really request it, then of course I can cover Azeroth Core. I can talk about Azeroth Core, doing an install, how do you install Azeroth Core, how do you run it, etc. That's all fine, but I just can't really talk to the original client and show footage, because of course it's obtained through questionable legal channels, and so it's just not worth it. It's a great game, it's real fun. And I think, obviously, my original World of Warcraft video that I did got over 200,000 views, and that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. However, it's just simply not worth the risk for the long term, whether or not it's just simply not worth the risk, basically. So you may have seen that I've been putting up a few videos on Eve, and they have no focus on programming whatsoever. And I've noticed that people are noticing that, because the subs are dropping off, and that's fine. I expected that to happen. But I've not moved away from DevOps or programming at all. In fact, this Friday I'm going to put out a video showing how I'm going to be learning and using JavaScript on the client side for writing a few client-side tools to help with some of the complexities of Eve. And I'm also going to be doing a full open source product. Well, maybe open source. I'm not actually quite sure on that yet. But it's going to be full Golang app, server-side Golang app with HTMLX on the front end, or maybe plain JavaScript, or maybe a mix of those. And that's going to require hosting, it's going to require DevOps, I'm going to use Terraform, I'm going to need Ansible for that, I'm going to have to screw up my Linux skills in order to get that going. And so there's definitely going to be more DevOps coming to the channel. It's just, to be perfectly honest with you, one thing I've come to the conclusion, and why I'm so sort of up and down with producing content, is DevOps, straight up DevOps and straight up programming and talking about it, is actually really dry and really boring. It's really hard to get excited for just Python or Terraform. Like, I don't get excited by these things. I think they're really cool and they're a great way to operate. They're fantastic tools, but they really are just tools. I mean, I'm sure you can find tradesmen who get excited over a hammer. Absolutely, 100%. I'm sure you could take take two separate hammers and you find a tradie that would get really, really excited about this one because it's just so good. Good, cool. That's not me. I'm not getting excited over Terraform or Ansible because they're just means to an end. They're just tools. So what I did with the World of Warcraft stuff was, what if I merged the two? What if I look at the back end to World of Warcraft, look at the SQL, the C++, look at the client side of it, look at the networking side of it, merge it all together, explain how it works, etc. And of course that obviously garnered quite a lot of interest. And so that's what I'm now actually doing is looking at games. And you're more than welcome to suggest games to me, by the way. The reason I've picked EVE is because I've always wanted to get into EVE, and it is sufficiently complicated enough to actually warrant external tools to drive your in-game activities without any doubt. Let me put it this way. You would be very, very hard-pressed to play EVE Online without having access to Janus, which looks at market data for you, EVE Scout for getting through Thera and Turner. Let's have a little think here. Python, which is a desktop Python application for doing system builds. EveMon for looking at your characters. Seat for doing the human relations side of it. Corporations inside of EVE Online are so complicated that, or rather they can be, and they're actually such a big task to run, which is why I've selected to run one, because they're such a big task, that people use entire software stacks to do the HR for them within EVE, like literally like human relations software for running running a corporation in EVE. That's how complicated it is, and it's awesome. It's a full sandbox economy, and I'm really excited for it. I think it's a fantastic game, and so it opens up this window of opportunity to get back into the DevOps side of it and the programming side of it, and share that with you and teach you that sort of stuff, as well as learn a lot myself as well, whilst also playing a game and serving the community of that game and driving forward with that. And so that's where the channel's going at the moment, because it's really hard to talk about Terraform and get really excited for it. Like, oh, it's Terraform, way! It's like I'm not a high energy person. I try and keep my videos sort of relatively relaxed. You can see Daisy over there's poor girl. She's got a cone on her head because she's got a bit of an ulcer on her leg, so she can't. She has to have a cone on her head, so she's cone dog today. So she'll be cone dog for the next few weeks. So that's where the channel's going. I've not abandoned the channel, or it's not just a gaming channel now. So please don't watch these videos and just be like, oh god, he's just gone to gaming now, he just plays games. No, not true at all. If you want to suggest games that you think would make for cool targets of external tools, where we can sit down and we can write a tool in Python or Go, and then we can run it on the server side, and other people can come and use that tool to then make the game better for themselves, then please recommend it in the comments. I'm more than happy to explore other options. But EVE is just the game that I've selected because it is sufficiently complicated enough, and you'll see that it's sufficiently complicated enough. You'll see 3 tools that I'm going to be developing for EVE, and you'll see them on Friday. I just started with the narrative videos that I've released 2 of at the moment, because it's just been fun. It's just fun writing a narrative. It's fun sort of playing a game in a different way to what other people play it, and then getting cool videos out there with those cinematics. As a game, it lends itself to making cinematic content really, really easy. So it's a very beautiful game. So I apologize if you've come to the channel, subscribed, expecting lots of World of Warcraft content, but there's plenty of World of Warcraft content out there. Sure, it might not be the server side of it, the internals of it. It might not be based around Azeroth core and hacking on it. And if that's not what you're after, and you watch this video right now, after I've finished recording it and publishing it, and you unsubscribe and you never come to my channel again, that's fine. Thank you for being around. I really, really appreciate it. But if you want to stick around, see what I do with EVE, make some suggestions, have a chat in the comments. I may even consider doing a 1 day a week stream as well, and we can have a chat on the stream where I'm going to be hacking and programming. It won't just be me playing EVE Online on the stream. I mean, I can play EVE Online on the stream in order to write the tools, because I've got to get data from outside of the game, from inside the game to the outside of the game, in order to be able to write those tools. So I'll certainly be playing it, but it'll be the programming and it'll be the development side of things. So coming up to the 10-minute mark now, so I like to try and keep videos around the 10-minute mark. So let me know in the comments below how you feel about this. again, apologies if I've misled you in any way. Definitely wasn't my intention. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, and yeah, let me know. We'll speak soon. Bye.